So this is the example that we're going to work on in this video. We're going to have a parent element, and then we're going to have an element that we can click on and move. And when we move it, it's going to update this text element up here that tells us where its location is. So right now it's at 171. So 100 in the X and 71 down Y. So if I move this up, you can see that our Y is now 55. So here's our recipe, and I want to say that that this recipe is kind of tentative. This is what we're going to be using for a few examples, and then we'll probably change this to accommodate for brick when we get into those videos. So first we want to subclass our subclass BlElement to make our element. Then we want to consider what child elements are needed, and we give these descriptive names, and they're going to be these are going to be instance variables. Third, we want to separate our concerns. We want to separate the concern of our initialization of elements and appearance versus interactivity, and this just makes it a little bit more easy to think about and also easier to find our code when we're looking through it again. Fourth, we want to go ahead and create the body of our initialize elements and appearance. So this is where we need to create our instance variables, we need to handle layout size and color concerns, and we need to be sure to add them to the parent. And lastly, we want to initialize interactivity, and this is how the elements will interact with each other. So in this playground, I have pull location demo element new, and this obviously isn't going to do anything right now because we haven't created this yet, but it's easy to it's convenient to have this up here so we can check our progress along the way. So I've created this this package. It doesn't have anything in it. It's just JH YouTube tutorials. So there's nothing in there. So let's go ahead and do our first step, which is to subclass BlElement. And the name of our subclass is going to be, I like to have elem at the last, so I always remember that it's a BlElement. So 2, consider what child elements are needed, and we're going to give them descriptive names. The child elements, if you'll remember, we had the movable element, the black square that we moved around, so let's just call that movable element. And then we had the text that displayed our location, so location text elem, can't see that, sorry. So let's go ahead and create this. So next on the list we have separate concerns, and we're just going to drop in this code right here. And we obviously need to create these methods. And they don't do anything right now, which is okay. So next on our list we need to initialize elements and appearance. So the first appearance we're going to worry about is the appearance of this element. So right now we're at a point where we can look at this and see if this is working out the way we want it. So you can see that our element right now is gray, and it's 600 by 600, which we just did right here. So let's create our movable element. So we've created a movable element, and that's just a BL element with the color black for the background, and we're using the default size of 100 by 100. And for the location text element, we have a BL text element, and we're going to relocate it to 10 by 10. We have these variables, and now we need to add them to this element. So let's run this again. So you can see we have our black element right here, our movable element, and it doesn't move, obviously. And then also our text. We didn't give the text any text as initialization, so it shouldn't show up. But you can see that that this is working. So next, we need to initialize interactivity, how the elements will interact with each other. So first we want to make our movable element movable. So the way that we do that is, so this, when we add a pull handler, that means it handles all the interactions that will make this a movable element. So let's go ahead and run it and see what happens. So I don't know why this text is here right now, but we're not going to worry about that. The other piece of interactivity that we want is that when our movable element, when this moves, we want to update the text of our BL text element, the location text element. So what does this code say? It says, we have our element, and when its position is changed, we want to run this block of code. And this block of code says we want to set the text. Our location text element's text should be the movable element's position, and then as roped text. Bloc uses roped text all the time, so you'll see this a lot where we have a string and then we want to use it. We want to have it be a roped text. I didn't save this. So that's the little BL element recipe that we have going right now, and like I said, it's tentative. We're going to change this recipe around, but it'll be useful for the next few videos.